Nobody had any idea what was about to happen. Not Rasheeda, not the crew, and not the cast. Kirk Frost's furious outburst, captured on camera, startled everyone and left Rasheeda in tears in what is now regarded as one of the most startling scenes in the history of love and hip-hop. On social media, the video, which was only uploaded a few hours ago, has already gone viral. Even though producers are rushing to handle the consequences and fans are demanding answers, the harm may already be done. On what was meant to be a typical day on set, everything happened. Another moment with the longtime pair. But suddenly, an object broke. Voices were raised, accusations were made, and then the online explosion happened. Viewers are now left wondering what actually transpired off camera when Kirk confronted Rasheeda in a way that no one saw coming. Not from the man she had supported for so long. Did this explosion happen once, or does it indicate something more serious and profound? Sources close to Rasheeda said that although she has not spoken out in public, she is heartbroken and done. Meanwhile, VH1 sources claim that this controversy could jeopardize the entire franchise in addition to damaging Kirk's reputation. Stay put because you're going to be shocked by what we're about to reveal. As usual, the Love and Hip Hop performance was a flurry of barely controlled chaos behind the harsh glare of studio lights. Makeup artists were finishing touches, assistants were running around, and cameras were in place. With his mouth clenched as if he were fighting back a storm, Kirk entered the room wearing a stiff expression. Rasheeda sat down. The crew could feel the unmistakable cold between them as she side-glanced through her phone, trying to look calm, but anybody who knew her could see the emotional tension behind the surface. Something wasn't right, and it was about to break. The audience was unaware that Kirk had looked into Rasheeda's phone just before the shoot began. Though they weren't controversial or explicit, the messages were personal. She revealed Kirk's most recent betrayal to a friend. He got a strong, "I don't" line. "I'm not sure how long I can continue to act like this marriage is fine." He waited for the cameras to roll on the set instead of confronting her at that moment. But he was boiling inside. Their intended setting was a straightforward discussion regarding their son's academic circumstances. However, Kirk was unable to control his temper and instead went on a loud tirade as the director called for action. "So this is how you really feel? Talking behind my back and smiling on camera?" His voice was low but piercing. Looking up, Rasheeda felt sad and confused. With her voice already shaking, she questioned, "What are you even saying?" "Your little messages. I read them all." Kirk raised his voice and walked over to her. The team froze, uncertain whether there was still a scene or whether something had suddenly become horribly real. Was this life falling apart in front of everyone's eyes, or was it just dramatic acting? There was oppressive strain. It felt heavy in the room. When Rasheeda heard the silence, her eyes widened. "Have you actually gone through my phone?" Kirk shot back. "Acting innocent isn't real, Kirk. You've been laughing at me behind my back while smiling in my face." The words, "I'm sick of the lies," were said by Rasheeda. Kirk disregarded the director's request to pause the sequence and make a cut at that time. Now that he was completely overcome by emotion, there was no way to call him back. Rasheeda got to her feet, her eyes welling with tears, and she said, "Kirk, I needed to let it out. I'm unable to keep holding it in. You lie. You're never around. I feel like I'm drowning while being neglected." Kirk was driven over the edge by such remarks. He raised his hand. Everyone was shocked by what happened next. In a moment of intensity, his hand touched Rasheeda's face, and time seemed to slow down. The impact echoed across the studio. Individuals let out a gasp. On the floor, a clipboard clattered. Stunned, Rasheeda stood still. She turned her face away. After the contact, one hand slowly rose to her cheek. There was a beat of silence, and then there was mayhem. Members of the crew hurried in. When security arrived, the assistant director yelled. Assisting Rasheeda with her departure, a sound technician rushed to her side. It seemed as though Kirk was unable to comprehend what he had just done, but it was irreversible. He stood motionless, his chest heaving and his eyes wide. The cameras continued to move, because no one had hit a stop, not intentionally. It had all been filmed from various perspectives. One of the show's veterans, Kirk Frost, was recently caught on camera confronting his wife on set. The word spread like wildfire outside the studio. As one crew member had already messaged a friend, a serious incident just happened. When Kirk made contact with Rasheeda on video, that one message set off the fire. In a matter of minutes, Rasheeda's name went viral on social media as she was led to her dressing room, leaving fans stunned. These reports continued coming in, but nobody wanted to believe them. Distinct versions of the same tale are not presenting Kirk in a positive way. Sitting quietly in her dressing room, Rasheeda was smudged with makeup. Her cheeks were red, but she refrained from crying. No more. What's left were no more tears, only shock, heartache, and a peculiar sense of relief. As if something buried had finally risen, she spoke to her stylist in a whisper. He really did it. Producers at her door were in complete panic in front of everyone. While some wanted to completely stop production, others were rushing to make a statement before the video surfaced. But it was too late. It was already caught on a phone by someone on site. And even though the studio cameras captured everything clearly in HD, Kirk was already out of the building when the shaky vertical cell phone footage initially appeared online. There was no explanation nor apology, just a stiff, tense body with no expression on the face. Kirk kept quiet, both to his manager and the staff. Just leaving, he got into his car and drove away. By the next morning, the initial video had been posted online. It was wobbly and low quality, but it clearly showed Kirk making contact with Rasheeda. Reactions were swift and intense. Supporters were outraged. The phone rang nonstop for his removal, even if it meant canceling the show entirely. Celebrities started to speak out. The tweet, "No excuse, no apology, just unacceptable," was sent by one rapper. The post, "I watched them growing up. This hurts. I'm heartbroken over it," was made by a well-known R&B musician. Not even the show's executive producer, Moma Scott, could remain silent. She sent a brief but direct message. "There is no room for violence in our work. Serious decisions are being made." Rumors started to circulate that Kirk had been given an indefinite suspension. VH1 may decide to suspend broadcasting for the full season. Despite all the noise, Rasheeda remained silent. Her quiet, however, was short-lived because a few hours later, she uploaded a single picture to Instagram, a solid black screen with no captions or tags, and her fans showered her with supportive and kind comments. "We love you. Leave him. You deserve better." As tremendous as the support was, so was the pressure. The public wanted her to speak and tell the truth. The public was blind to the inner turmoil brewing within her: shame, devastation, rage, and uncertainty. What to do was a mystery to her. Whether to remain in the marriage, to take legal action, or to walk away for good.